Let's talk a little bit more about the pension contribution. The numbers can get very confusing for people as we, quote, get into the weeds. Please, Treasurer, talk to us about what the pension crisis has been over a long period of time, the public employee pension crisis, what is owed, what's being paid on that debt, and why it's so important for this budget to dedicate so much money to paying down on that debt. I know it's a loaded question, but the average person who is not a state employee might say, well, what does this have to do with me? Please.
Well, first of all, you mentioned public employees. They have been meeting their obligations through the years. They've
been making their contributions.
Yep. Every paycheck, they make their deposit, and they've been doing what they're supposed to do. Unfortunately, government, in particular state government, has not been living up to its obligations to the pension fund. For decades, both parties to blame. But that has been when, in times in trying fiscal times, that has been the payment that has either been shortened below what it should be, which is considered the actuarially determined contribution, what we need to pay every year to make sure that people who are retiring, that their obligations, that we meet our obligations to them. So for years, that has been sort of where the state has gone to meet other needs. Well, we'll pay the pension later. Oh, we'll pay a little less than we owe, and we'll make it up later. We'll make it up later. Well,
what was the problem with I'm sorry for interrupting, the problem with, quote, kicking the can down the road year after year after year on making the state's pension contribution? Why does that affect all of us?
Well, here's some numbers for you. The last time that the state made its full pension payment, what they owed in order to be 100%, funded for that year, was in 1996. And at that point, the payment was $228 million with an M. If we had kept doing that every year, if the state had continued to meet its obligations, our payment for this year, to make sure we were meeting our obligation, would have been approximately $800 million with an M. Instead, to get to 100, because those payments weren't made or were too little over the years, what we're going to have to pay this year in our budget to meet our 100% obligation is $6.4 billion with a B. So the hundreds of millions and billions of dollars that have had to go towards making up for those shortfalls those are all dollars that we could have spent on so many other worthwhile programs for New Jerseyans. So that's why we should all care about it. So we're making that pension payment. The Murphy administration over the past 4 years, this will total $18 billion we've had to pay into the pension system.
Yeah, sooner or later that bill comes due.
Yeah.
Let me try this.